Hey everybody, I am Taylor and I'm the Stargate Guy, where I talk to you about everything and anything Stargate. Welcome to another live stream. This is really cool that I get to hang out with you guys in this format. Remember, you can do the live chat right over here. You can even do a super chat if you really want to. Always appreciated. Today we are talking about a fan theory that was submitted to me a while ago, and it took me some time doing some research and trying to find out exactly what it's all about, and trying to find reasons to either explain it or debunk it. So how this works, if you haven't joined me before, welcome. Let me know where you guys are from in the chat section over here. So how this is going to work, I'm going to explain this theory, I'm going to talk about it and give my 2 cents in it, and then we're going to turn over to you guys, and you tell me what you think about the theory, and then afterwards we can do a little Q&A and talk about whatever and hang out for a little while. And then I gotta go make some more videos and get ready for GateCon, which is coming up. I'm super excited for it. GateCon 2018, I'm gonna be there. Anyway, so this theory was submitted by subscriber Sam Mauser on Facebook. And he says, this is a long one, so hang with me. He says, quote, "Yeah, so I have a theory that Destiny is not only traveling in space, but also in time. Hear me out, because you'll like this. So we know the vessel is FTL, but not hyperspace, which is interesting. Modern physics, as I'm aware, if you could travel up to the value c, there is time dilation. Imagine if the time dilation is like bow shock, that the aircraft accelerates through the sound barrier. Destiny, I think, is experiencing temporal bow shock. I want credit for that phase, and Sam, you got it. So as Destiny meanders through the universe, it slowly drifts back through time. I'm sure there's a brief reference to the Ninth Chevron and Destiny's computer making an X Factor, which was a weird show, time distance calculation, so there's evidence for this theory. The mission is to meet the intelligence that was there before the universe began. Sam, small correction, it was the intelligent life just after the Big Bang, not before it. If it was before it, then that would be impossible. Is your hair standing on end yet? Because pucker up, Buttercup." So we now imagine the stones project consciousness not only across vast distances, just maybe not in real time. It is only perceived that way to the individual using them, which by breaking relativistic physics using some kind of freaky entanglement. Okay, so now it gets squirrely. Dude, Sam, you got squirrely a while ago. "I think Destiny's crew are the Ancients." Yep, mind blown. Think about the Defendants. A race founded by scientists that came from a distant galaxy. Yeah, I know the Futurans may well be the founders of the Ori. Nice one, Brody. Essentially, the Testament lays out the Alturan principles. It was even written in the derivative of ancient. It was even written in a derivative of ancient. Okay, I need feedback on this bad boy as a fan theory. If you make a video, all I ask is a brief mention, and that's okay, buddy. And definitely want to hear what you think. What's epic about this is Destiny may be the force that starts the universe. Payload in pro. The crew are the ancients, and the humans inhabit the entire universe because of an information paradox. Even in SG-1, when Carter speculates about why trees and fruit species throughout not only the Milky Way, but it seems the universe all seems a bit terrestrial. It was all Destiny and its journey to create all humans from nothing, and essentially terraform the universe. They're not on a mission to meet God or save the universe. They are God, and they are on their way to create the universe, which explains why the ancients said, quote, "Whomever controls Destiny controls the fate of all things." It gave me chills coming up with this realization. I even perhaps feel they might have gone that road. Or go on, I'll stop wavering, and I would love your feedback. Well, Sam, you got my feedback, my friend. So this theory has a lot of parts to it. To sum up the theory, Sam theorizes, Sam Mauser, the subscriber, not Samantha Carter, he theorizes that Destiny, as it is traveling through the universe, going at FTL, after FTL, time dilation gets worse or greater, then the Destiny is traveling back in time the further closer to the Big Bang center it gets. Along the way, the human inhabitants that came aboard Destiny broke off to become the Ancients and the Ori. millions of years ago, and that the stones not only work across vast distances, but it also causes it crosses across time as well, allowing the people on board to think that they're talking in real time, but in reality they're not, since they're far in the past. Furthermore, he theorizes that the Destiny itself has some sort of payload that could spread life throughout the entire galaxy, and that's why we see on planets we have a lot of trees and bushes and sand, and it all looks a lot like Earth. That's basically what I understand it, Sam, about what your theory is, and to sum up. So, my 2 cents, having actually had time to research this, unlike you guys, is that we need to take this apart one piece at a time. Excuse me. Oh, I dropped water everywhere. So, first off, let's talk about whether or not let's talk about time dilation. There we go. So, time dilation is basically that the closer you get to the speed of light, the slower time happens. This is part of relativity that was theorized by Einstein almost 100 years ago. That's kind of crazy to think of. Basically, the idea is that the faster you get, or the more mass you have next to you, the slower time gets. Now, there's actually been studies done proving to some extent that this relativity does happen. For example, the wonderful people up in orbit along the International Space Station, they experience time a little slower than we down on here on this planet, which is massive and it weighs upon the fabric of time and space. So, time dilation is a thing as far as we know in physics. The debate then becomes within physicists all over the world is, does time dilation happen after or once you surpass the speed of light? Now, the speed of light is considered the cosmological constant, and nothing can break the speed of light except the expansion of the universe. The universe is expanding every single day. The universe, even though we look up in the stars, and it seems like day to day it doesn't really change, in reality it is expanding, and it is expanding faster than light. Now, that's a whole relativity thing in its own that I don't fully understand, but physicists today are debating about whether or not you get past the speed of light if time dilation gets even worse, or if it just goes away entirely. Some says yes, it gets worse. Others say no, it goes away. So it comes down to, in the Stargate universe, after FTL, does time dilation occur or does it not? That becomes the question. So, in order, I'm getting distracted by the comments. It's cool to see where you guys are all from. England, Belize, let's see here, Russia, all sorts of different places. Welcome, guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Sorry, I get distracted. I'm going to have to scroll up so I don't look at the comments right now. You guys are distracting me. You're so cool. Anyway, so physicists are split on the issue. Some say yes, some say no as far as time dilation. Now, within the Stargate universe, we can go on a couple of different things to try to see what it is within the Stargate universe. Does time dilation happen after FTL? Or with FTL? So, let's talk about the stones. Sam proposes that the stones, he supposes that after FTL, then yes, time dilation occurs even more, and so the stones have to work not in really real time because it is transmitting through or back through time or forward through time, depending on how you want to think about it, but it's not really happening in the present. I would say, Sam, that piece of evidence is wrong. I would state that the stones do work in real time, and there are a couple of different pieces of evidence why this would be. The first one is Daniel and Vala. At the beginning of season 9, Daniel and Vala are connected. They have the weird freaky bracelet things, you remember that? And their consciousness gets transmitted to the Ori home galaxy, and they are able to interact with the Ori and with the priors. Sam believes that this is just that this can happen in the past, that it is not really happening in real time, it is just perceived as being happening in real time. However, Sam, as the third-party observers watching on Stargate, we get to see Daniel and Vala being tied up and having fire come around them and burning alive. We see back in SGC that their vital signs and that their bodies reacting to this mindset is happening in real time. We also then sorry guys, apparently I'm not thinking straight this morning. And that the life signs and that their heart rates, their blood pressure, everything like that would have corresponded with a person about ready to be burned alive and at a heightened state of, oh my god, my life is going to end. So, that's one piece of evidence why I would argue the stones actually happen in real time. Plus, if it happened in the past, then that means that the Ori theoretically would have been warned in the past or in the future. But everything that lines up with the whole Ori invasion does happen in real time. So, and that was started by the stones and by the first communication, which appeared to have happened in real time. Now, within Stargate Universe itself, I would argue that it gives us further evidence that the stones happen in real time and it is not just perceived that way, not because of all the different times that we see people interacting with others on the Earth, but rather the times where they stop interacting with other people. When the ship jumps into FTL, everything gets all lengthy and wonky, and the stones disconnect for a few seconds while the ship is jumping into FTL. Now, if we see Destiny jumping into FTL, we see the engine lights up and it slowly speeds up and then hits FTL and it breaks through that temporal bow shock that Sam was talking about. But on the way it takes to get from 0 to the speed of light, that is the part where you experience that time dilation effect that we know about in relativity. Therefore, that time dilation threw off the connection in the stones. Get it? It's the time, it's the disconnection in time, one happening quicker than the other for that few seconds, that disconnects the stones. They can't happen when one time is going at a completely different speed than the other time. Now, they make a quick reconnection once the ship is at FTL and time levels out. So I would argue that right there, the stones are telling us that it is happening in actual real time, and that when Destiny is traveling in time, but due to the time dilation, it doesn't work. So, next, he theorizes that the crew of the Destiny become the Ancients, that they get thrown back in time, and that they split into two distinct countries. That of Young Land and that of Futura. I only say Young Land because in Ancient it means the land of young or young land. And one was based heavily on science, and one got more religious-y, preachy about it, and having Rush be kind of like the savior type of figure. Watching the end of Season 2 in Stargate Universe, this is where we really get to see what happened with that alternate timeline. In the episode Twin Destinies, Destiny goes back in time about 12 hours, I believe, and two Destinies were formed and diverged. Two crew were diverged. Telford went back to Earth. The others got sent to a different planet. So, the idea is with Sam is that in combination, I'm guessing, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing that Sam theorizes that since Destiny is going back in time, he theorizes, that 2,000 years beyond that would equal million of years today. Millions and millions of years. Because we know that the Ancients split from the Ori millions of years ago and traveled to the Milky Way galaxy where they formed their own civilization. Therefore, in order for that civilization to have evolved, both culturally speaking as well as physically speaking, it would have happened millions of years before that. And so that's where he theorizes that the 2,000 years that the Destiny crew would go back in time, in reality, would be millions of years to us here on Earth. There's a problem with that as well. Sam, this is a very innovative idea. Really, kudos. The difficulty is a couple of different things. One, the Ancients split from the Ori, and they traveled across a couple of galaxies to get to the Milky Way galaxy, where they formed their own civilization. So, I'm sorry, now I'm looking at myself, it's weird, and I'm lagging. There we go. So, at the time, the ancients had traveled through a couple of different galaxies in order to reach the Milky Way galaxy a couple of million years ago. We don't know the exact date. Sorry, I lost my train of thought here. This is a big theory, and it's kind of hard for me to unravel. It literally took me like a month and a half to try to figure all this out. Where was I? Oh, the ancient splitting from the Ori millions of years ago, coming to Earth, and how that didn't line up, temporally speaking, with... Oh, yes, that's it. The ancients' ability to travel intergalactically. So Destiny is able to travel across hundreds of different galaxies to try to reach where the Big Bang occurred. Now, that was millions of years ago. And we also know that millions of years ago, they had the ability to travel across a couple of different galaxies in order to reach the Milky Way and to establish a colony. And theoretically, the best that we understand it, Destiny took off not long after the ancients reached the Milky Way galaxy relativistically, that's wrong. Relatively speaking, there we go. This is what happens live, guys. You don't get to see me make all these stupid mistakes. Anyway, I'm getting off track again. So, I theorized that really there wouldn't be enough time. There's not enough time difference between Destiny leaving and the ancients coming to the Milky Way, and the timeline is off. Does that make sense? I really butchered that thought. I'm sorry. Secondly, the Novans were wiped out. Sorry, Charlie. In the second to last episode of Stargate Universe, we go see Novus and this big colony that the alternate Destiny made, and they had cities that were a lot like modern day, like New York, and they had street lamps, and it all looked about what we have right now. And it got wiped out. A supervolcano exploded, everyone on the planet died due to asphyxiation, and you have a lot of ash in the air, temperatures got lowered, everyone got wiped out. And there was just people in a couple of different colonies that were living in tents, and that were barely surviving. So I'm sorry, dude, but the whole planet got wiped out. The potentially future ancients in Ori, most of them were dead. Sorry. And they got transported back 2,000 years ago. So what I'm saying is the stones don't work with time. It's constant, which indicates that FTL, as soon as Destiny achieves FTL, time dilation stops, and it goes back to regular time, whatever that is, enough for the stones to work, indicating that Destiny is not traveling back through time, meaning that the crew actually traveled back 2,000 years into the past, not millions plus 2,000 years. And even then, most of them got wiped out with a supervolcano. Sorry, crap happens. Lastly, the payload. Excuse me. The theoretical payload to distribute life throughout all of these different galaxies. Oh, another thing about the time is that if Destiny is constantly going back through time while they're traveling across galaxies, then the Nokai, the blueberry aliens, how the hell do they know when Destiny is going to drop out and attack it if it's also traveling into the past? I don't see that happening. They have to be on the same or similar timelines in order for the blueberry aliens to go forward to a different part of the galaxy where Destiny is going to be. Since, as far as we know, time works in a linear fashion, which according to Doctor Who, it works in more of a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey way. But to our understanding, it works in a pretty linear fashion. So if the blueberry aliens know where Destiny is here, and Destiny is going forward and back in time at the same time, the blueberry aliens can't go into the past and pop up over here and attack Destiny. To our understanding of how time works, that wouldn't work. So that's another piece of evidence why Destiny cannot be traveling back in time. Things keep following it, and things keep attacking it. Anyway, Last thing. Oh, payload. That was it. The payload. Um, as far as we understand on our current basis of knowledge, as understood by me, who is not a physicist, who is not trained in physics, but who is just a nice admirer of the field and tries to learn as much as I can because it's super freaking interesting. To our understanding, life as we know it, as we can survive, happens within a particular ring around a star, the Goldilocks zone. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it has the place where liquid water can form and where carbon-based life, like us, can evolve and develop. Now, in SG-1, Sam theorizes that you would have similar shrubberies, you would have similar type of creatures that are carbon-based because it is all found within that Goldilocks zone. So, although there is definitely going to be some different evolutionary strings, some things are going to do better on other planets and not so well on others. We already see that. For example, the microbes on the desert planet, they were able to survive, but they were really able to thrive, theoretically, in a planet with a lot more water. But they were able to evolve on a planet that was desert. Now us, we would freaking die in that desert, and we almost had a couple crew who did. We wouldn't survive, but that little micro fly dust thingy, cloud, colony, whatever you want to call it, did. So you're right, things evolve differently on different planets to suit the climates and natural selection and all that good stuff. But we would have very similar things because it's all found in that Goldilocks zone in a solar system. If it's outside of that zone, theoretically, we would see similar types of life throughout the universe and throughout the galaxy. Are there going to be variations? Hell yeah, there's going to be variations. But you're not going to have a human-like type person evolving on Pluto because our similar type of physiology would not survive on Pluto. Does that make kind of sense? I'm hoping this is making sense. So, Destiny going through back in time, or the seed ships going through back in time and seeding the galaxy with this payload, we have no evidence of that really at all. The seed ships we do know are putting Stargates and are standing and giving information about planets, but we have no evidence that they are spreading, pine tree seeds or anything like that. Simply because on every planet that the Destiny crew steps onto, everything's well established. The trees are well established, the bushes are well established, the creatures are well established, and they're not super, super new. It's not a barren hunk of rock every single time, and just a few things are starting to grow. Therefore, Destiny, I theorize, is not having a payload, is not going back in time, and the crew of the Destiny are not the Ori and the Ancients. Now, Sam, freaking kudos, man, for coming up to this theory. It is really innovative. I can see totally how you came up with this. I get it. All I'm saying is that there's more evidence against it than there is for it. I know you guys, a lot of times I come up with theories, and you guys make some wonderful arguments saying, yes, you're right. No, you're horrible. This makes sense. This doesn't make sense. But yeah, so Sam, kudos on the theory. I just think it's incorrect. So now it's time to go over into the comments and see what you guys think. I'm sorry my explanation was a little long. So let's go see what you guys look or say, and let's go back in the comments. And ooh, there's a lot of you guys. Grandpa Place, howdy, hey, it's good to see you guys. Leon Strait, yeah, you made it. Congratulations. James Fry, welcome back, buddy. Grandpa's Place is in Texas. James from England. Kingara from North Carolina. Cedric from Canada. Leon from England. Wow, this is so cool. James Fry, I'm sure it would involve the multiverse somewhere along the two. Yeah, could be. Weird Man Wizard, what is he talking about? Basically, you have to go back to the beginning and do that part. Basically, the theory was by a subscriber, Sam Mauser, is that Destiny is going back in time as it goes due to time dilation. That the crew of the Destiny, since they're going back in time, got to be the Ancients and the Ori. They developed into those two species. And that the Destiny itself, it has a payload to start life in the universe instead of going to seek it out. Basically. 198 of 505. I like the idea of temporal bow shockwave. I do too. It's a really nice phrase. People from Belize, welcome. Lincolnshire, England, howdy. Russia, hey man. This is really cool to see where all you guys are from. Switzerland, hey, right on. I believe it was Honduras, our neighbor south. I don't get that. Sias, time relation question for SG1. Do you think the universe / timeline at the end of Season 10 is the same as the one from Season 1? Well, technically speaking, no, it wouldn't be. Well, so the thing is that SG1 and Stargate in general played a lot with time. And every time you change something in the past, it changes the timeline. Now, in the multiverse theory, there are infinite amounts of timeline, as we were talking about last time with the quantum mirror. So every tiny change there was could have changed the timeline. I think overall on the show, it is the same timeline, but we see several times where it diverges from the timeline that we are actually watching. So I would say yes, it is the same timeline, but we are definitely aware and we see other timelines that split off of it. I don't know. That's totally worth its own video to look at the different timelines and how it is at the end of Season 10. Good question. Sadri Mokin. It is quite ironic that Dr. Rush becomes the prophet of the religious faction. Yes. It's very ironic because he's very anti-religion and pro-science. And you can blame Brody. Yeah, interesting guy. I have a profile about him. That was like one of the first videos. James Fry, but the ship would be infinite length. I don't know about that. I don't know. Keep in mind, I'm not a physicist. Ramekin Zeno, you're great. Oh, thanks, man. 198 of 505, except the civilization that is sent back in time isn't that far back. The colony founded was dated by Eli. Exactly. It was 2,000 years. Period. Not millions. Sorry, Charlie. Only good tuna can be a Starkist tuna. Omega Low. The theory is not possible, by the way. Antics Gnome missing the cure of destiny. I don't get that last part. Antics Gnome missing a cure. Oh, do you mean this gnome? I have a gnome. I don't know if you mean that gnome or not, but you know. He's my gnome. This is so cool. Did the Novans have like a generation ship that left Novus? We don't know. It is very unlikely that they had interstellar travel that was not the gate system. Very unlikely. It seemed like all of their intergalactic travel was through the Stargates. Based mainly off of the type of civilization that we see on Novus. It all looks very 21st century. Or late 20th century nowadays, I should say. And so our interstellar travel is not that great. Granted, that colony had a big, advantage than us. But judging from their society, from the level of advancement that they were at, I would say they didn't have any generation type ship or any interstellar travel that wasn't the Stargate. James Fried already happened in the past, so the info would be in the future. Okay. I don't really know what that means. I'm going way in the past, by the way. So, I'm probably way behind on the conversation. Is there more, or Leon Slate, is there more than one Destiny that the Ancients made? That question occurred to me literally this morning, and I wrote it down, and I'm eventually probably maybe going to make a video about that. My initial thought is yes. It would make sense that there would be more than one Destiny. Now, the thing with that is that it comes to the mission of the Destiny. As far as we understand it from Rush and the tiny amount of information that we can glean from Destiny's computers, the purpose was to go back to the point of Big Bang and to find out what the message was that was hidden in the background radiation of the universe that would indicate intelligent life shortly after the Big Bang existed. Now, if it is just that one single goal, one singular mission, then it would make sense to only have that one Destiny ship and the seed ships. I theorize that Destiny's mission is more about collecting information about the universe as a whole and not just that one mission. So if the real mission of the Destiny is to gather information about the universe and not just find out what that one message in the background radiation is and what it means, then it would make sense that the Ancients would make more than one Destiny ship. Now, it would take a lot of resources in order to make these ships. And the seed ships that make the gates. But I would find it very, very likely, very possible, that there was a couple of different Destinies, at least two, I would say, that went towards the center of the universe where the Big Bang was, and I would argue went the opposite way to where the universe is expanding to understand and gather information about what the expansion of the universe can tell us and teach us about the nature of the universe itself. But that's just my initial thoughts. Let's see here. Hey, another Russian here. Howdy. Have a drink of vodka on me. I don't know what time it is there, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Kingara. Wow, you got it right. Thanks. Hey. Dustin Beard. I wish I had money for you to take, damn it. Keep up the good work. Dustin, it's fine, dude. Like, really, it's fine. So you guys know, I work full-time. I put money into this when I can. If you guys would like to contribute, there are a couple of different ways. You could do a super chat over there in the section. It's a little $sign next to the smiley face. And to donate to the channel. You could also go to Ko-fi.com and buy me a cup of coffee. You don't have to. I just expect you to keep watching the videos if you like them, keep liking them, keep commenting, and that's awesome. Really, like, that's freaking amazing. If you like to do more, you can, and that's super appreciated. There is, since you guys are here and we kind of stumbled across the subject, I am actually developing a couple of products that you guys might enjoy. As far as net profit, I would make about as much as a cup of coffee. But it's something that I think you guys would really enjoy. I have a couple of demos coming here in the next few days. In like a week from now, they should be getting here. So I'm going to test them out, make sure they're good quality, and then if they are, let you guys know about them. Because I think, as a Stargate fan, just as a Stargate fan, I would appreciate them. And you don't have to be, subscribed to this channel or any special thing. Mr. Bojangles. Yeah, Mr. Bojangles. Awesome song. From Rotterdam, Netherlands. Hey, welcome. Remick Zeno, I guess that's your name. But it makes sense. The theory of Ori and Ancients, they have the same physiology as humans. How would it be possible otherwise? That would be an odd coincidence. Well, you're right. It is an odd coincidence. We do know from the telecheck device that the ancient biology and physiology is more complicated than our own. We also know that from a almost dissection of one while it was alive and dug out of the ice in season 6 Season 6? Season 7? Season 6. Yeah, season 6. Sorry, I had to think about that. So we do know their physiology is very different than our own. It's more complex, and there would be natural evolutionary processes as to why it would be more complex. They were developing millions of years before us. They did develop on other planets than us, so it would make sense that the genetic variability would be more. Now, we do know, as far as the timelines go, humans were evolving on our own on this planet, and about 10,000 years ago, when we ourselves were starting to develop agriculture, that is about when the ancients came back and some ascended and, some intermingled with us humans, and that's why we have people with the ancient gene. Not everyone, but some of them. So, as far as the whole, you're going back in time to be your own great grandfather, you are going to have species with similar types of evolution. Right now, we have chimpanzees and we have gibbons. They do have a shared ancestor. They look very similar. They have developed similar properties, but they are different species. And we see that all throughout our own timeline of evolution. There are creatures that are similar, that have similar properties, but they're very different species. And it could be a very similar thing with us and with the ancients. Ah, damn it. Keep spilling water all over the carpet. Let's see here. Hey, I'm almost getting caught up with the new stuff. Kangara, do you think they could do a series on the ancients? How would you start the series? It seems like every live stream this question comes up. Us fans, yes, we would love a series about the ancients. As far as bringing new people on board the Stargate family, it would not make sense. If I was a producer for MGM and for Stargate, I would not have the first show out of all this time that we haven't had Stargate shows apart from Origins, but that barely counts. I would not have it be an ancient show. It would be way too niche. It would just be for the current fan base, and I would want to expand the fan base. So I would do something more family friendly, or I wouldn't say family friendly, but, well, yeah, that too. But I would make it about a subject that continued on with the SG-1 universe, and would have elements of the past that the current fans would love, and bring in new elements and open it up to having more fans. Because that would provide more money and the series would last longer. Later on, after another show was clearly established, I would love to see a show about the ancients. Quite frankly, I think that eventually what I would love to do, once this community and this channel gets even bigger, is I would love it if us, as the Stargate Guy community, create our own show about the ancients and pool together some money and resources that we can get together and that we can build our own sets and we can make a legit awesome show about the ancients with our own stories and really adding on to the established canon, because we know the canon and we could totally do that. But that's my thought. Who knows if it'll ever happen. But that would be awesome. A couple of retracted messages. I don't know. Okay. I don't think it's the same timeline because Neos Pound. Neos Pound, I got no fish prior to SG-1 back in time. Okay, yeah. So in the episode Mobius Part 1 and 2, which is season 8. I don't have season 8 over here. It's over there. Anyway, so what he's referring to is in season 8, Mobius Part 1 and 2, that there is a distinct change in the timeline that we observe, and a good indicator of that is that Jack's Pond did not have fish, and after they went into the past and came back, it did have fish. So yeah, you do have a point. There's definitely a change in the timeline there. It wasn't major. But it was enough for fish to develop in one pond in Minnesota where it otherwise wouldn't. That or the previous Jack in that timeline stocked it with trout. But I don't know. Leon Slate, LOL. The Stargate guy could be on SG1. He could have replaced Daniel when he died again. I would love that opportunity. I do like acting. I do love the show, and I'm actually pretty good at history and archaeology. Little thing about Daniel Jackson. Daniel Jackson helped inspire me to get 2 degrees in history and anthropology. He really made history and archaeology really cool, and I had a natural inclination towards history. But he is the character that really influenced me to make it more into a career. So it's, yeah, I would love to freaking replace Michael Shanks on that show, or not replace him. Sorry, Michael, but to work alongside him and to be on the screen with him. I would love that. That'd be amazing. Because the character has made a big influence on my life. And I know Michael Shanks is not the character, Daniel Jackson, but he portrayed him very well. James Fry, the message was so long, and thanks for all the fish. Actually, James, I love the series, the Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy series. So long and thanks for all the fish was the message that the dolphins left the humans before they jumped ship, before the Earth was destroyed. The actual message from God carved into the mountainous fire volcanoes on a distant planet was actually sorry for the inconvenience. So I like to think that was the message from the beginning of the Big Bang, or shortly after the Big Bang, in the background radiation. Sorry for the inconvenience. If you haven't read the Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy series, I'd recommend it. It's an awesome series. Let's see here. Copyleft Rebel. Are the Berserker drones self-replicating, or could they be eventually destroyed by superior technological force? Judging by the size of the drones and the mothership, and the nature of the technology not having any defensive shields apart from sheer numbers, it is theoretically possible, and in fact kind of probable, that the mothership itself would have an automated factory within it that would create new drones once those were destroyed. That was actually not thought of by me, but rather one of you guys, one of the awesome subscribers, who commented on the video about the drones. You can go watch that. It's an awesome video. At least, I think my videos are awesome. Some of them, anyway. Some suck. Like the Chloe one. Don't watch the profile about Chloe. That was horrible. No, no, too far. What was that? Dark Pumbaa 1. Can it be that Destiny was sent to collect information on the universe and then eventually is sent back to the past, back to the ancients, and that is how they advance themselves in tech and evolution? Enough to finally ascend. Dark Pumbaa. I think that would be a crazy freaking paradox. And I don't think that would really work. Now, I could see the information being broadcasted back to subspace. I could most likely see that the ancients would simply dial up Destiny every now and then and wirelessly download the information that it collected. Having several Destinies would add to the argument for the 9th chevron, that there are 9 chevrons in every gate. Partly because manufacturing that would probably be a lot easier. But that if there's more than one Destiny, then you can do several different codes and get to Destinies all over the galaxy and all over the universe, I should say, and download the information wirelessly. At least, I don't know. That's my idea. as far as how the ancients would get their information back. I think they just dial it up and download it. Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles. Stargate being popular in UK, Germany, Australia. Could a multinational team with no Americans work? Sky, ProSieben, etc. Could carry it, I think. Hey, if they can get the rights from MGM, great. You know, put it online, I'll watch it. You know, I think it could. Honestly, on the current global market, it could work if they advertise the hell out of it online. I think Sky, for example, who's a big video maker in the UK, and I watched a lot of their stuff. An Idiot Abroad on Sky One, that was hilarious. Yeah. Keep dropping water anyway. So I think it could work, but the thing is that in the United States, that is where most of the market for Stargate is. I can even see that on this channel. Half of the views and the watch time for all of these videos are from the US. And the top 5, US, UK, Canada, Germany, and Australia. I don't know in that order. So I think you would miss out on half of your market unless you really, really advertise in the US. And I hate to tell you this, but part of the U.S. culture is that it is kind of egocentric about itself, primarily because the country is so big that news about what happens, like I'm in Oregon, news about what happens in California, Utah, New York is more relevant to me than what is going on in Germany, Japan, Australia. That's an entire world away. Now, in Europe, international news is a lot bigger because the countries are a lot smaller and the effects on countries are greater. Like in the UK, what Germany does impacts the UK a lot more than it does the US. The only way it would really impact us is like with trade embargoes and BMW and, you know, Volkswagen and German imports. And, you know, American exports. So as far as how that would impact a show made internationally about Stargate, they would have a uphill battle with marketing it to an American audience that comprises, I'm guessing, about 50% of Stargate fans, just based off of what I see on the channel. They would have a hard time doing that. Would it work? Could it work? Possibly, yes. But it would be a struggle. In real world market economy, that kind of thing. Fortunately, with the internet, though, that a lot of those can be bypassed. Oh, that was it. We apologize for the inconvenience. Yes. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm still catching up on the comments here. Hey, guys. Hello from Brazil. Howdy. Hello, Brazil. I haven't been, but I've heard some good things. I've also heard some bad things, but, you know, you can say that about every country. Silo de Souza. I butchered that name. Sorry, I don't speak Portuguese. I barely speak English. I love Stargate. Someone know when they will release Stargate Command here in Brazil? I have no idea at all. Sorry. You could try getting a VPN, a virtual portable network, plugged into your computer and set that for like a U.S. state like Seattle, L.A., whatever, and see if you can get to StargateCommand.co there. In 2 weeks is GateCon in Vancouver, British Columbia. I happen to know that Stargate Command will be there along with everybody, really. Myself included. Gate World is going to be there as well. I'm actually hoping I'll be able to talk to these guys and start working together more. There's actually been requests from some of you guys on the channel that I work with Gate World and that we do some collab stuff. I think that would be awesome. I would love to do that. And so I would, in 2 weeks, I would love to sit down and talk with them. Oh, virtual private network, not portable network. Sorry. That's what VPN means. Yeah, I don't know these things. Um, I use one, but apparently I don't know what it stands for. So that might be how you could get StargateCommand.co. StargateCommand.co, what's going on there is that in 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, the 19th of September, that is their date when theoretically the Stargate Prime or the paid memberships would end. I emailed them a couple of weeks ago asking what the next step is, and they basically said, we don't know, we'll tell you when we know. So there could be some licensing things there with MGM. They could be changing the platform. I don't know. Yeah. James Fry, it would be a great time to do it with Stargate Origins having just finished. Yes. See, as far as the future of Stargate goes, I received some information from some guys who were putting together a. Let's see here. The thing is, I don't know whether or not I'm supposed to say this information. I have not been forbidden to say this information, but then again, I haven't heard it publicized anywhere. So that's probably keeping a lid on it. But I will say MGM, from what I've seen and from what I've heard, are seriously contemplating moving Stargate forward. We have seen them dip their toe in the water with Stargate Origins. And I happen to know that they are working on kind of something else. I don't know if I should say more, if I can say more, because I want to be on good terms with MGM. So, we'll see. I'm excited, though. I think good things are going to happen. I really do. I don't know exactly what they are, but I think good things are going to happen. I wish Netflix would pick it up, though. Yep, Netflix would be a good distribution for a new Stargate show. A lot of people have Netflix. It would bring a lot of people onto the platform. What I noticed with Netflix is that Stargate content varies depending on what country you're in. When I was staying in the UK, I could watch all of the Stargate shows on Netflix, come back to the US, and they weren't on the US server. So that is one limitation of Netflix, is that you'd have to get it on every server in order to fit that global market for Stargate. Hulu, however, currently has all the Stargate stuff on there, and I'm subscribed there, and that's where I watch some of it, as well as StargateCommand.co. They could publicize that if they may on StargateCommand.co, as long as they have it internationally. Wow, I'm getting more behind in the comments. This is so cool. I love this. In the episode, or Sias. In the episode where Tilk got stuck in the Stargate, they held on to his signature to later send him through. Couldn't they copy the signature and send him through multiple Tilks? No, sorry. To our understanding and knowledge of how the Stargate works, we cannot copy information stored in the Stargate's buffer in order to make copies of something. I don't know even if that is possible. I could see that not being possible as part of the safety features of the gate. And despite what you say, yes, there are safety features of the gate. They're not perfect. But, if you're not a freaking idiot, you'll be fine. The people in Hidante were freaking idiots. Sorry. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Leon Slate, I have all the DVDs, but none of the movies. Congratulations, you can get all the movies on DVD. They're on Amazon. They're actually really inexpensive. You can go to StargateCommand.co, and they have the movies on there. Hello from Macedonia. Hey! Gorgu. Georgiou? I don't know how to say your name. The dude from Macedonia. Yeah, hey, we've talked on Facebook. That's awesome. In case you don't know where Macedonia is, that's one of the Baltic states, right above Greece. Looks like a really nice country. Hello from the UK. Hey, Gamma Ray. Gamma Ray Burst, I should say. What's up? Sliding Sean, I wish I could go to Stargate Convention. Me too, man. Me too. Fortunately, there are there are conventions all over the world that has Stargate or some sci-fi elements, and there's some Stargaters or Gators or whatever we want to be called that hang out at almost every convention. At least that's what I've seen. I've seen pictures of people all over the world attend sci-fi conventions dressed in their BDUs or as Jafar or whatever. So I would recommend going to the convention near you. Sadly, the only conventions I have ever been to so far are board game conventions, which is basically everyone gets together and they have a giant family game night. So I haven't actually been to a Gate convention or a sci-fi convention or Comic-Con, any of those. GateCon in 2 weeks will be my very first one. I do have some good news on that note. I did get approved for a press pass, so I will be sitting down and having interviews with some of the cast and crew of the Stargate shows. I don't know who yet. I don't know for how long yet. And I don't know what questions to ask yet. So in the comment section, not in this section, in the comment section, let me know what you guys want me to have ask different cast members and crew members. And I'll try to use as many of those questions as I can. If they make sense. If they're just plain stupid, I might ask them, I might not. I don't know. It depends. But I'm very excited. I don't really know too much about what to expect. And what's going to be weird. So first convention, and I'm interviewing people, cast and crew, and I'm having a booth where I'm talking with fans and filming fans, and they're going to start being on these videos. And I'm going to be starting to hitting up, guys from Stargate Command and Gate World and talking with a whole bunch of people. I'm going to be really super freaking busy. I'll be amazed if I even sleep during that time period. But apparently I'm hitting the ground running. When I do a convention, baby, I do it right. If you guys know of any conventions that are going on anywhere in the U.S. or in the world, and if you guys, if you want to have me there, the best way to do that, honestly, is to get in contact with the convention and say, hey, this guy Taylor, he's doing the Stargate Guy show on YouTube, and can you extend a hand to him to come over here and speak. I would love to go to as many conventions as I can. Many of you know I work as a public servant for the state of Oregon. I don't make a lot of money at all. So spending thousands of dollars every month to go travel to a different convention around the world is not really in my budget. And I don't make that kind of money. But I know some conventions do pay people to come and speak. And I love public speaking. I wouldn't mind talking to anybody about Stargate and about sci-fi and helping to keep the spirit of sci-fi and of Stargate in particular alive. So if you guys want me to come at a convention, try talking to the convention people and say, hey, go talk to that guy. We want him to come here. And that would be awesome. You don't have to, by all means. But I would love to get more into the convention circuit and get talking with you guys in person. And I think that'd be freaking awesome. I don't know about, if you guys would like that, but I think it'd be awesome. I'm getting behind in comments again. I'm never going to finish all these comments. You guys are awesome. Hunding 1978 at the Stargate Guy. I have a theory for you. In SGU, the tower where there was an Atlantis-like city in Pegasus. Do you think the ancients have built more than just one Atlantis and the tower? Yes. There you go. In the episode The Tower and Stargate Atlantis season 3 or 4, because it was when Ronan was on. It was an episode entitled The Tower. Then we do see basically a carbon copy of Atlantis. You do have the tower in there. You have Atlantis. So yes, there are multiple different cities of Atlantis, at least 2, as we saw. It is very probable that there are more. That part of that part of ancient design, the city of Atlantis, must have been so popular to a point where the replicators formed their own city of Atlantis. So yeah, there's probably a few more out there. We just don't know where they are, and they're thousands of years old, so a lot of them are probably decaying. James Fry, The End of Atlantis did indeed seem to rush. It deserved at least a two-part episode. Yeah, it did. And, yeah, there's the book series that picks up the story of Atlantis, and if, I don't want to wreck it for you, but if or how they get back to the Pegasus Galaxy, and what happens when Atlantis is on Earth off the coast of California. It's an interesting story. I haven't read it all the way. I've read a lot of synopses about it, but I don't know. It's interesting. DJ Ronnie G, the obelisk didn't resemble Atlantis, but if it's much older, maybe. Still, the ancients were known to build entire star systems. Oh, you're talking about the obelisk in SGU. Okay, not the episode The Tower in SGA. Okay, so the obelisk in Stargate Universe. You're right. It did not resemble Atlantis at all. It could have been a lot older. Still, the ancients weren't known to build stars. Yeah, you're right. DJ Ronnie, you're right. The ancients weren't known to build solar systems. It's theoretically possible to build a solar system, but we don't have any evidence to prove that they did. As far as the obelisk in Stargate Universe, we don't know. We just don't know. Sorry. Let's see here. James Fry, Jested Heathen, it could have been great, but the there's a big outpost. Corey England, love you, bro. You're on my S2 team anytime. Hey, thanks, man. What would be great is Stargate with skiing, and it's bound to be snowy and mountainous someplace. Okay. Bob John, could the replicators actually beat the Ori? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Because the tricky thing is that the Ori civilization doesn't have a lot of technology for the replicators to take. Therefore, there wouldn't really be too much incentive for the replicators in order to attack the Ori. Because their whole purpose is to replicate and to get resources to replicate. So I don't think the replicators would really fight the Ori unless the Ori tried attacking them. And the Ori wouldn't really have too much incentive to attack the replicators since they're on this whole convert people to give more power to the Ori type of thing. That'd be an interesting mashup. But, I don't know. I never thought about that. 198 of 505. Do you remember the name of the series of those books for Atlantis? No. I'm sorry. I think it's The Return to Pegasus. I think is the name of the book. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Yeah, but so there are a series of books about SG-1, Atlantis, and the universe. There's a series of comic books about each one as well. My theory and my belief with the comic books and with the books is that they're good stories. It's a good, kind of like an apocrypha. Excuse me, wow. But they're not canon. I don't really use them to comprise my theories. But they're good stories. It's worth a read. I check out the comic books from time to time. Yeah. Silo de Souza. Ascension would be a good motivation for the replicators. Infinite power of the universe. The replicators aren't really about power. Well, the replicators, like the bug guys, aren't really all about power. They're just about replicating. The human form replicators, we do know that some of them wanted to study ascension and wanted to ascend. Not so much for power, but to evolve and kind of fulfill their purpose kind of thing. Yeah. So I don't know. Human form replicators, as far as we know, cannot evolve to that point, cannot ascend. But as far as actually doing battle with the Ori, I still don't think there's much incentive for either way. Like, I could see the Priors trying to convert a human form replicator until they realize what it is. And then the Prior would probably die, or at least they'd have an epic fight. But after that, I don't really think much would happen there. Sliding shot on the Ori, I might try... Oh, wow, keeps moving. I might try to fight replicators just so they wouldn't take over a planet. Yeah, I could see that. Jackson, I know you're still in love with Adria, man, but I'm sorry, but she's married, dude. I'm sorry. Brad Wolf 07. Oh, hey, welcome back. Hello, everyone. There is an SG-1 book or two where the team tries to rescue the SG team that got trapped by the black hole. Really? That would be super hard. How do you go about with the whole time dilation thing? I don't know. I don't know how that would work. And, you know, you still have the spaghettification of the people where they would literally be ripped in half and the half would be ripped in half. I mean, it's a horrible way to die. So, I don't know. That would be an interesting story to read, to see what the author came up with how to try to rescue the people who are being swallowed up by a black hole. James Hughes, what show would you bring back out of the three and why? Honestly, I would not bring back the shows in their entirety. I would, personally, I think SG-1 is, it's kind of hard to say this. I think SG-1 should stay with the 10 seasons that it has. I think that we should have a continuation of the story. That we should have another Stargate show. I believe it should not be called Stargate SG-1. It can be called something else. It could be about another team. It could be about the Alpha site, Stargate Alpha. It could be about SG-2. But as far as bringing back, I don't know if I would really bring back SG-1, because people would constantly be going back to the team with Richard Dean Anderson, Chris Judge, Amanda Tapping, and Michael Shanks. So I would want to have the elements. I would definitely want to bring back what people loved about Stargate, but I wouldn't really bring back one of the shows. I would want to continue the story, but from a new perspective. Kind of like how in the Star Trek series, you had the original Star Trek, and then later on you had the Star Trek The Next Generation. It took place in a later time, in real time, or close to it, which I love. I think we should do that in Stargate. Whatever story comes out now should be taking place now. Not in the future, not in the past, now. And it builds off of what happened in the past. So, but it wasn't really Star Trek. Yes, you had the Enterprise. Yes, you had similar aspects. And I think we should really do the same thing in Stargate. We have a continuation, not really a bringing back type of thing. Anyway, that's what I think. And MGM or whoever is thinking about making a new Stargate, Chris Judge, I know you're wanting to make one about Teal'c and the Free Jaffa Nation. I am also a writer and a consultant, so call me. Shameless plug right there. Where was I? Dustin Beard, if I was an ascended being that had the power to bring back the show, I would make a continuation that would bring old and new together. My idea, would be an Icarus type planet base. Yeah. I could definitely see like a show about the Alpha Site. Especially at the beginning, that would really cut down the price of production because you wouldn't have to build a 3-story Stargate Command set again, which costs a lot of money. You can have a more simplistic set if you want to save money at the beginning, if you don't think it might work, which MGM probably will. And so, I don't know. I just think, realistically speaking, it would be a good first step. Second step. I guess Stargate Origins was the first step. And that had mixed reviews. Hell, I give it mixed reviews. Java Beans picking up on SGU would be nice, though. Yeah. So I could totally see SGU continuing, even though it's been 7 years since it went off the air. 8 years? I don't know, however long. I could totally see SGU being picked up again. You would have to justify the aging of the characters. You could easily do that by having the pods that they went into malfunctioning and not fully preserving the crew members. And if some crew members did not want, or some actors did not come back, or did not want to re-sign the show, you could simply kill them and have their pod malfunction. Done. You put in a little dummy in there. Done. Now, would it do well? The answer is not really. It would do okay. Because SGU itself has had so many mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people outright hate it. And it would definitely not be a good first start to a show to get to come out with. Because it would already be on not great footing. Yes, some people want to continue on. We do have the comic books, which kind of help, but it's not really the same thing. And yeah, I don't think, I would love to see SGU continue in a perfect universe. That would be awesome. Because I rather liked it at first, not so much, but now I do. But realistically speaking, money-wise, I don't see it happening really the first time. Maybe the second or third show, if Stargate wants to have more than one show going at once again. But, I don't know. It would be a risk. It would be a gamble. James Fry, a personal shield would stop the spaghettification effect and a device to speed up time in their local area. Yeah, but where the hell are they going to come up with 4 personal shield devices to check through the gate? And how will those guys know to put it on and what it was? I mean, for a split second, they would see 4 green things fly out of a gate at them. And, they won't know what to do with it. Because of the time dilation effect. Going back to the guys being sucked up by the black hole. Sorry if you didn't catch that. All-Star 61, if you could appear as an extra on any of the shows, which one would it have been? So, if I had to pick, if I was an extra on any of the shows, I would totally pick SG1. I would totally be an extra on that show. I'd love it. Hand me a giant freaking wrench, and I would just hang out with Martin Wood, in the background. Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Sign me up, man. Sign me up. Major Red, I'd like to see Stargate Universe brought back. Yeah, same here. Jackson Heathen. I think Christopher Judge used to play college football for the Oregon Beavers. Yep, he did. He went to Oregon State University, which is about 3 hours northeast of where I'm currently at. 3 hours, 2.5 hours northeast of where I'm currently at. But yeah, he played football for Oregon State. And I don't know, he was pretty good. It wasn't great, but he's pretty good. Sorry, Chris. Yeah. Hate to burst your bubble, buddy. Java Beans. Actually, that's a brilliant idea. That could explain how Eli survived running the pods at like 98% and the people aged. Yes. You're welcome. Happy to come up with brilliant ideas. And, it's a realistic one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hey, I'm caught up on the comments for the most part. Sias, could Atlantis catch up with Destiny using the wormhole drive? Theoretically it could. I don't really think it would work because Destiny has had millions of years to travel a long ass way away. So you'd constantly be playing catch up. You don't know exactly where Destiny's at. So trying to find it would be like trying to find a speck of dust in the Milky Way. Very unlikely. Oh, excuse me. Wow. Jackson Heath, you grew up in Grants Pass. Oh, cool. I'm sorry for your loss. I've been through Grants Pass. It's okay, I guess. Yeah. Of course, you're in Utah, and I lived there for 5 years, and God, I'm sorry. Wasn't a big fan. Anyway, sorry, dude. Badwolf07, if I remember correctly, SG1 has to go to a planet formerly controlled by Baal under a different name, and it has a time dilation effect. I think they based it off of one episode where Jack was tortured by Baal. What episode are you referring to? SG1 has to go to a planet formerly controlled by Baal and has a time dilation effect. I think they based it off of one episode where Jack was tortured by Baal. I don't remember that. I don't know. Shoot me a message about that. Yeah. Anyway, shoot, what time is it? Holy crap, we've been doing this for an hour and 16 minutes. All right, guys, so I think let's call it there. Usually these are around an hour, and this has gone long. So thanks, guys, for joining me on this live stream. Let me know what topics you want to discuss in the next live stream next month, the first Sunday of the month, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let me know in the comment section down below what topic we should talk about next. And until next time, I'll see you on the other side.